Once upon a time, in a quiet town not far from anywhere, there was a man who built a house. It started simple: two bedrooms, a kitchen just big enough for a Sunday breakfast, a porch where he could drink his coffee and watch the rain. The house sat on a modest hill, surrounded by pine trees and the kind of stillness you only notice after a long week. And for a while, it was enough. Then one day, the man thought, it wouldn't hurt to add a third bedroom, maybe a guest room or a study. So he built it. And then he thought, a second floor could be nice. What if I want more light? A balcony? So he built that too. Soon he added an entertainment room, a home theater, an indoor pool, a wine cellar, heated floors, glass elevators, hidden doors, a meditation room with a waterfall no one used. He tore up the garden to make room for a garage that could fit 6 cars, even though he didn't drive 6 cars. He demolished the porch to make space for a lounge. The coffee he once sipped in silence was now served in a kitchen designed by an architect whose name he couldn't pronounce. Every few months, something new went up. Something newer replaced something old. The house grew and grew and grew. Neighbors watched, some admired, some whispered, but nobody said much, because from the outside, it looked like success. But here's the part you don't see from the curb. Inside the house, there were always blueprints on the table, sketches, plans, contracts. The construction never stopped. There were always workers, always noise, always dust. The man stopped using most of the rooms. He moved from corner to corner, never quite settling, because there was always something to improve, something to fix, something just out of reach. And then one day, long after the trees were gone and the hill had been carved out into foundation, the man looked out from his rooftop balcony and realized he couldn't remember what the original house even looked like. He had built himself out of his own home, and still he wanted more. Now we laugh at this story like that's absurd. Who needs 16 bathrooms and a retraceable roof? But here is the uncomfortable truth. Most of us are building our own versions of that house, quietly, in our own way. We keep adding more work, more goals, more followers, more income, more visibility, a bigger role, a nicer office, a fancier title, a better looking LinkedIn banner. And on paper, it looks great. Ambition looks good in lights. But what we rarely ask is the question that matters most. At what point does more stop adding to your life and start taking from it? There's a line in the book, The Psychology of Money, that hits me hard. The hardest financial skill is getting the goalposts to stop moving, because it always moves. You earn more, so you spend more. So you need more, so you chase more. You hit a milestone, and instead of feeling joy, you feel nothing. Maybe relief, but only for a second. Then the goalpost moves again, and now you're sprinting again just to feel okay. We treat enough like a weakness, as if wanting peace is the opposite of wanting growth. But maybe enough is the real power move. Because thinking about it, if you never define what enough looks like, how will you ever know when you have arrived? That man with the house, he did not fail because he wanted to improve. He failed because he never paused to ask what he was building toward. He thought happiness was hiding in the next wing, the next room, the next upgrade. But he forgot the porch, he forgot the coffee, he forgot the quiet. He forgot why he started. And don't get me wrong, this is not an argument against growth or ambition. Build your house, build it beautifully, work hard, take pride in it, but know when to stop renovating. Because at some point, more stops being the fuel and start being the noise. There is nothing wrong with wanting a good life, but if you're not careful, the chase for more will trick you into missing the good life you already have. And that's the tragedy. Not burning out, not crashing, but succeeding at things that don't actually matter to you. So here's the invitation: not to stop dreaming, but to start choosing. To sit with yourself, not your feed, not your peers, not your boss, but yourself, and ask, what do I truly value? What would enough actually look like? What do I already have right now that I would miss if it were gone? The man who built the ever growing house didn't need advice on architecture. He needed a mirror. He needed someone to ask him, is what you're building still aligned with the life you want? Because building is easy, stopping takes wisdom, and knowing what's enough, that's freedom. Thank you.